it's fine to like go after a golden ticket, but you have to have something else too. Because what if you have the best race of your life and still get third? Like, are you going to be upset with? You have a right to be upset, but like, what a shame if you have the best race of your life and you can't control what days other people are having. You can only control your own day.
We are live with Rachel.
Entrekin.
Nailed it.
You pronounced it great. You even threw your voice towards me.
In Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
We're doing it live.
Yeah. Off the cuff.
Off the cuff. Yeah, we were running this morning and Rachel suggested we go for a podcast. I've had a microphone captive for her for months now, and now it's hers. She just had to chat for an hour first.
That's fine.
The first question that I always ask on this podcast is going to get me some shit because of the conversation you had on the Cam Hanes podcast.
Okay.
Where you
is it who is Rachel Entrekin?
Called out this question.
All right.
So who is Rachel?
Can I talk about it within a running context also? Okay.
It's your question to answer.
All right. Well, my name's Rachel. I'm a physical therapist, I guess, professionally. I specifically worked in oncology rehabilitation before I transitioned to full-time running. So that's what I do now. I guess I tend to specialize in over 20 hours, I think is the better way.
Really slow marathons.
Yeah, really like 50Ks, just like I suck at them. I love cats. I like to cook and play the piano. I used to like to bake until I moved to altitude, and I don't understand how it works.
It's so much harder now.
Okay, so this is going to get me crap, but are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Do it.
Okay.
You already did.
Oh, well, all right, that makes sense. But this is going to get me crap. But I've started using ChatGPT to help me with my recipes. Because, you have to like add a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and I don't remember, like a half cup of flour or whatever. So what I was told by a baker is if you take a photo of the recipe and say, I live at 7,500 feet, like how do I make this recipe? It will tell you, and it works. Because I made banana bread for the first time in a year, and it didn't fall apart in the middle. It actually works.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I spent some time living at 10,000 feet, and it was like impossible to make rice.
Really?
Yeah.
Rice? That's not even baking.
I know.
Noodles are also, you have to cook it for like 20 minutes. How did you make rice?
Not well.
Okay. I mean, it's funny because I cannot make rice. I can cook a lot of stuff.
I think it was brown rice. I was in Breck with my buddy from Boston and two friends who are dietitians. And so we had these two dietitians like trying to cook, and we couldn't. We gave up and we ordered pizza.
That's so funny. Oh, that's so funny. Wow. Yeah. It's a funny about the rice because I can't make rice. Like, it's supposed to be the easiest thing to make, but I can make pastries and I can't make rice. So
pastries are great too.
Pastries are fantastic.
So stoked to have this chat. We went on a run last summer that was, awesome. I said it out loud. Like, I was like, this was the third longest time on feet that I've ever done. And you laughed because you were like, oh, this is like a training day and I'm going to pace later. And so that's what I love about running. It's like everything is so relative, and what's tough for one person or what's tough for even you today versus 5 years ago, it's like totally different thing. So it was really fun to like have this live podcast or conversation as we were going up Mount Massive, which I'm sure we'll get back to. But I'm curious how running found you, or how you found running. Let's wind it quite far back.
So I started running, I don't know, there's a couple of different, I guess, ways to tell this story, but
let's try English.
In English. So I started running when I got to college. I did not run for college. I was an athlete growing up, and I kind of wanted to stay athletic and not just go to college and like forget how to do anything. So, and I was in a new city and I wanted to explore it. And the best way for me to do that, I felt like, was on foot.
What city was that?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Cool.
So, huge running community in the Southeast.
You hear about all these races in Birmingham.
Yeah, totally. Actually, the running community there is incredible. And the trail community specifically is incredible. So, but yeah, and so I started running. I kind of very traditionally worked my way up. So I started with half marathons. And it's funny that you talk about relativity, because I remember I was doing my first half marathon and I was thinking to myself how insane this was. And then I jumped up to the full marathon. And I remember speaking with a woman at the start line because I'm visibly nervous. And she noticed, and she very kindly told me like, oh, you're going to do great. It's like, first of all, you don't know me. Second of all, like, how do you know that? Like, you don't know anything. She was like, well, 26 miles is not that far. And I remember how insane that sounded because I had only done half marathons and I'd gotten maybe up to like 20 miles in training, maybe, but I was petrified. And then I finished the race and it was the best.
What year was this?
This was in 2010. So I did halves in 2009, I think, but then I progressed to the full. It was like fall of 2009. And then in 2010, I started doing marathons and I finished the marathon and it was the best. And I felt really good. And I think I did another one within 2 weeks. So for the first, I would say 3 years of me running, it wasn't necessarily like, I wasn't running ultras yet, but I was running a lot of marathons and then training in between. And so that like endurance bit, I always, I guess, have had. And then I jumped into the trail scene. I started doing 42Ks because we use kilometers if we're on trails.
Just under a marathon.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I did those. And then in 2013, I did my first 50K and it was a trail race in the Southeast. And it was super different, I guess, because, you know, the aid stations are even different. Like instead of having Gatorade and bananas and oranges, it's like candy, which I immediately.
And precision.
And precision now, yeah. But this is the Southeast. And this was in like 2013. So we didn't have any of that stuff.
Yep.
It was still probably Gatorade, but like Mountain Dew also and whiskey and stuff. And so it was a funny scene. And I met a lot of people there that kind of got me connected in like, I guess it was mostly Georgia and South Carolina. But the group of those people traveled, I guess, like around the Southeast and did races. So Pinhoti and Cruel Jewel and Georgia Jewel and all those death race.
The days of the Georgia death race being a golden ticket.
Yeah, I was there in those days. I didn't ever do it, but I was there. But yeah, and so that was kind of my introduction to the, I guess, like trail scene. And then sometime between doing a 50K and a 50 miler, I discovered fixed time. And so I got super into that. And I actually did my first 100 miler on a 24 on a fixed time course because I was really nervous and I wanted to control as many variables as I could. And the best way to try something new for me at the time was, well, control as much as you can and just see if you can run. Yeah. And then I don't know, I just became this from there, I guess. Moved out to the West Coast, lived in Seattle for a while. Obviously, the trail scene was very different there. And I discovered the mountain scene, which is probably my preferred little spot. I love running up mountains. And then in 18 or 19, I did I Am Tough and won. And I think that was, I'm sure that everybody has a different opinion on what my breakout performance has been. But for me, my breakout performance, I think
the Burrito League.
Was the Burrito League.
Yeah. This year in Salida.
Troy Croxdale. That guy's insane. But I think my performance that kind of showed me that I could potentially like be good at the sport was I Am Tough in like 2019.
What was that like? What was it like to feel that?
I mean, I think a lot of people experience imposter syndrome. I experienced it before then and I experienced it after then. But I remember crossing the finish line. I think I got top 10 and I was so close to sub 24. I was 24:04, a time that I will never forget. But like I wasn't using a watch. I remember
didn't use a watch until last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah. But yeah, I was basically just flying by the seat of my pants. Like I had a water bottle, like a plastic water bottle.
Wow.
That was what
bicycle ride.
Basically, yeah. That I'd found in my car because I realized that I didn't have anything else. And it's like, well, crap, I need water. So I like shoved it in my vest that had holes in it. And I was like, they have goats and the volunteers are really cool. And like each aid station is like pretty fun. And so I took a nap and like sat by the fire and like talked to this person who was like potentially going to drop out and was like, well, let's just run together. Took a picture with the goats that are at an aid station. And so I like had a really...
Killian was there?
Ha, yes. Which one? No, just kidding. But yeah, it was super fun and I did really well and I finished really strong. And so crossing the finish line, yeah, it was just like an absence of imposter syndrome, which was a new feeling for me because people had been telling me, oh, like you're really good at running. But I just like hadn't really believed them and hadn't really done, because I Am Tough at the time was the biggest race I'd ever done. And so it was like, oh, well, I'm only doing these local things and like no one really know it. Again, it's relative. But I'm Tough was there were like 300 people and I was like 6th. And so that objectively was pretty cool. And I think I got the course record. So it was just like a good day.
Was there a vision at the time of what the next few years could look like? Were you kind of just like, maybe I should try this again and like believe in myself a little bit more?
So at that time, I was not considering that I could ever do this professionally. I mean, I think Courtney had kind of blasted into the stratosphere by that point. And so obviously I knew that some people could, But comparing myself to somebody like Courtney was foolish. I just won a 100-mile race and like it's not exactly Western states. So I don't know if I necessarily, I think it mostly just compelled me to like push the boundary a little bit more and like not be afraid to sign up for things. Because I went into I Am Tough and I think I was the only person surprised at the fact that I won.
Yeah.
Because every one of my friends was like, okay, like you're gonna do great. Like one of my friends actually dropped out of his own race to watch me finish when he found out that I was in the lead. So I mean, everybody I think kind of knew. But yeah, mostly it just made me want to try a little harder at things and see if I had success there too.
One of the things that's really cool about running is you kind of never know what your potential is, and it's just like really fun to chase it. I was listening to Peter Bromka on Zach Bitter's podcast, and Peter he was trying to break 2:19 in the marathon to run in the Olympic trials, and he ran 2:19:02 and 2:19:20, and he had one other time that was within like 40 seconds of that.
Ugh.
So he was like, that was my potential. Like he tried for years to break 2:19, and he like, threw a bunch of darts at the thing, and it was like this close to the bullseye. And they were talking about how like Zach's point was, I'd rather have it that way than wonder if the OTQ was 2:16 like it is now, and you ran, 2:23 and you just like left your potential on the table kind of a thing. In your situation, how do you think about I'm curious what my potential is. You've won,
some stuff,
20 races in a row or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
How do you think about exploring potential and like what's possible?
I think for me, I mean, I would like to get into races that have a more competitive women's field. Not to say that I haven't raced with competition, but it's usually like 5 or 6 deep. Whereas something like UTMB or Western States, not that I necessarily want to run Western States, because that does not speak to me very much. But something like UTMB, I mean, there's usually at least 15 women that could win. So yeah, I've said this in a lot of podcasts that I've done, but I really heavily credit Cocodona's women's field with having Courtney in it and her pushing the front of the field. Like I heavily credit her with the success I had the year that we both ran it together, because I don't know if I would have necessarily been pushing that hard, maybe, if I wasn't, I don't want to say chasing her, but like it felt less insane to do when there's also somebody else doing it.
Right. It's like the Roger Bannister, like breaking 4. Like once he did it, then plenty of other people did it. But it's like you need to see that something's possible. And then it's like, well, for fuck's sake, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, my only goal during Cocodona was being within 4 hours of Courtney at mile 100. Like that was, and then after that, I was just going to have to figure it out. So when she was mobbing up the hill, I was like, okay, well, if I want to be within 4 hours, like I can't let myself get that string broken.
So a lot of people listening to this run marathons.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they dabble in ultras or run ultras, but it's like a 50-50 road and trail split. So there are people that just run 5Ks or just run half marathons or marathons or whatnot. And to hear that the goal was to be within 4 hours.
Within a marathon distance, yeah.
Within a marathon distance at mile 100. Like, I'm like so deep in this world and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Can you talk through, like, for someone who's never heard someone talk about a 200-mile race?
Yeah.
First, go listen to Kevin Goldberg's podcast, Distance to Empty, if you're curious about, like, to hear more.
You want to do a 200, you'll find your distance.
Storytelling. But short of like leaving this podcast and going to listen to another one, can you talk, which please don't do, finish this one. We're going to get into some good stuff.
Yes.
What is that like? Like, just how do you even think about a 200-mile race?
So I've done it, I guess I've done Cocodona, if we're going to talk about Cocodona. I've done it now twice. And the first year that I went into it, my only goal was to survive.
Which is a goal.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to die in a marathon, but like you could die in a...
You could. You could certainly be hospitalized. So I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to like bring shame upon my family. So I had done some 48-hour races. So I've done through the night.
That's 2 days, folks.
That's 2 whole days and in a 1-mile circle. So I knew enough about how my body responded to time on feet that's that long. But this is 250 miles. And so that extra 50 can bring you into night 3, which is where everything goes weird.
Third night.
alive
brush your
without
teeth 6 times in this
well,
race.
I brushed my teeth, but I didn't 6 times. But yeah, so I knew a little bit about what I thought my weak points were going to be, especially with nutrition, because that's a lot. I mean, you're trying to move forward that whole time. And like, if you think eating enough to run a marathon is hard, like, you don't even know what it's like
to run for 3 days.
to run for 3 days. And like, especially if you're trying to push, because I wanted to do well. I didn't have any expectations of like what place I would get. My goal was to finish A, and then my like, oh my God, this would be amazing goal was to sleep in a bed by night 4 of the race, which was Thursday. So that was, and I told my crew that was what I wanted to do and to help me, you know, because I had pacers and it's like, please help me like sleep in a bed by night 4. And I wound up finishing really early on Thursday morning. So yay, I didn't have to do that. Or I didn't have to be out there a whole extra like 12 hours. But yeah, my first go at the 250-mile distance was very experimental. I did mess up my nutrition. I messed up my electrolytes. I bonked really hard. I hallucinated. It was, and I tend to go through 100-milers pretty flawlessly. Like I can't really think of like a bad 100 that I've had. So yeah, I kind of, it's not that I expected that in a 250, but like I thought that it would probably be fine. And then I had a whole lot of issues. And so I guess going into the subsequent year, I knew the stakes were not, I guess not necessarily higher because honestly, everybody thought that Courtney was just going to win. And so it kind of took some pressure off me. And, I learned a little bit from the year before. I knew what the course looked like. I knew how to pace the sections because I remembered them. And honestly, one thing that I liked that was a gear switch from my previous year was like, oh, now I get to show my friends and my pacers, like I get to show them the course and like I know what's coming up and I can like talk to them about it. And so it made it a little bit more like fun somehow. Running 250 miles is fun now. I've written a little bit about how to train and how to like get your mindset ready for the multi-day events, but it's like voodoo, dude. I don't know how we do it.
Why do you do it?
Because so in 2020, I guess the end of 2023, I had felt like 100, and I feel like we keep coming back to this like theme of it's all relative, but I felt like 100-milers were no longer the challenge that they had been. I'm not going to call them easy, but like I wasn't getting to the same place that I used to, that I liked getting to. I wasn't problem solving as much because if you do something 100 times, not 100 times, but if you do, I'd done a lot of races and I wasn't learning anything anymore. So the only thing I could do was I could either run them faster, which I didn't want to do, or I could just run further, which spoke to me a little bit more. And I'd done a couple multi-days and I enjoyed that. And I also felt like I left a little bit on the table with those. So yeah, in December of 23, I was chatting with one of my buddies and I was saying, do I sign up for Cocodona? Like I'd known about the race and it seemed like if I was going to do a multi-day race, that one looked really fun and they have a lot of support. And I like doing self-supported and unsupported things. And the first 75 miles is pretty self-supported, I guess. Like there's not a lot of aid in that little section. And so that kind of spoke to me too, is like in the
little section, the little 75 mile, like you're just like warming up.
It's a fifth of the way.
Yeah.
Or something.
In a marathon, that's like the first 8 miles.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But and after that, at mile 78 is when you start to get pacers. So it's like, cool, I'll just make it through this. And then basically I don't usually use pacers or have crew. And so that kind of made it feel new and exciting. And it gave me an opportunity to learn, even if the race went horribly and I just like didn't learn anything during the race itself. It's like, well, I can learn how to use a crew and pacers and see what that's like.
So the last couple of years, you're doing the 200s. And you're doing really well.
Yeah, it's shocking.
At what point, you're still not wearing a watch. At what point did you realize, like, hey, maybe this is something I can do full time?
I think after Cocodona last year, I remember almost being a little disappointed that nothing happened. Because I had a little bit of momentum, nothing like what happened this year. But I had a little bit of momentum going and I had been in conversations with other companies before that just kind of didn't go anywhere because everybody always just comes back to the same thing of like, oh, well, what's your Western States time? And like, I haven't done that one. It was really challenging to find a fit, I guess. And then also challenging to know who to talk to. And so I remember I spent the year still doing pretty well in racing, but just kind of like after Cocodona, just kind of slowly giving up on the whole sponsorship thing. And then I decided to move to Colorado in December of 24, did Cocodona this year, and everything exploded pretty much. And that was when I had already planned to stop. I was doing a travel physical therapy contract, and I'd planned to stop working in late June. And after Cocodona, I was kind of like, I think I can make something happen. Like, I think now is the time. Last year, I learned how to be patient. And then this year, I also learned how to be patient. But I had that momentum, and I had a lot of people in my corner saying, hey, what the heck? Like, why is she not sponsored? Like, what is going on here? So I also had that little bit of like social pressure.
And then David Lamb
brands.
sent you some shoes.
And then David Lamb sent me some shoes, and I loved them. And here we are at Norda.
And
I mean,
Precision.
yeah. So I mean, I've got a really great collection of sponsors now. So I am really thankful that it didn't all happen when I wanted it to, and it happened the way that it did, so that I have the folks that I have. Because it would have been probably pretty tempting after Cocodona the first year to just accept anything. Because like, well, I want to do this, so let me just take whatever. I started with Precision back in probably January of 25 because I knew I'd used their products before and I liked them. I knew I sucked at nutrition and hydration. They seem like they know what they're talking about. And so I reached out in January and said, hey, I'm running Cocodona and I would love to not suck. So like, can you help me out? And we had like an informal sponsorship where they kind of gave me product and like.
They do a fun for athletes. They do a fun like warm up period, right? It's like
Yeah.
a 6 month. We're kind of dating. You don't have.
I guess
any
I didn't know that at
obligations.
the time. I was fine with whatever because I was working full time and I
Yeah.
didn't need anything. I just would have appreciated help and product, which they gave me.
Right.
So it worked
with
out.
no obligations.
Yeah, it was
initially.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And then obviously after the race, I mean, one of the reasons why I improved my time so much is because my fueling and hydration was excellent. And so obviously I talked about how incredible it was working with that company. And so in June, they approached me and were like, hey, so we want to do this. And like, so they were the first people to actually sign me.
What did that look like from a sports science standpoint? Because I've launched this partnership with Precision for the long run, and as part of that, like they're providing sports science support to myself and another podcast host,
Yeah.
a couple of podcast hosts as part of that package. And I'm like stoked to dive into I'm
Yeah.
like such a nerd on the nutrition and performance side of
Yeah.
things. What did that look like for you as an athlete?
So I was, bless Emily's heart. So Emily is my sports scientist. Her name is Emily Errol. And I remember just every single call, just apologizing to her and being like, I'm so sorry. Cause I'm not very good at record keeping. And like, until I started working with Precision, I mean, I would go to the gas station before the race and pick up stuff. And then just like, that's what I use. And it worked, I guess.
And you never got a 7-Eleven sponsor?
I know, right? I know. Cause those like Slurpee things are great, especially after races.
Yeah.
I tried putting one in a bottle one time and that was a poor idea because it was really sticky. But yeah, and so it was mostly just kind of like, well, tell me how you traditionally fuel. Like, let me get some background so that I can determine like what your needs could possibly be. And I was like twiddling my thumbs going, well, I eat mostly candy and pretzels and like don't use any actual products really. And then I think my second race that I did while I was working with her, I actually got food poisoning the night before the race and could not eat anything for the entire 100 miles. And so my second meeting with this scientist, I'm just like, I didn't eat anything, actually. You're going to fire me from this program because like I'm not helping you out at all. I know. But I mean, she's been incredible because she takes the terrible amounts of information that I don't give her and she determines like, oh, well, you must be really like fat adaptive and like, you know, if we can. And she never once tried to make me increase my consumption too quickly or shamed me for not having any idea what I was doing. But she would always just kind of say, hey, you know, maybe we can try doing 30 grams an hour. That would be fun. Let's just try 30. And then during the Cocodona prep, she was always either WhatsApping me or sending me emails being like, all right, should we let's try to meet up and talk about during your training, like, how's it all going? And we would chat about that kind of stuff. And she would ask they have this huge, when you do a race, they give you like a question, not a questionnaire, but it's, I don't know. I guess they're a question. Kind of.
Well, anyone can go online and like fill out the form and get like a rough outline of.
This was always after the race.
Yeah,
it was
like
it was
a debrief audit.
A debrief. It was an audit. Yes. Ooh, words. And those have been really helpful because during the race, I would think to myself like, oh, I'm doing so good. And then I would get to that bit and be like, oh, I didn't eat anything. Or like I bonked in this section of the race because of like, I only had half of a chew. Like, that's not appropriate. And I remember I did Cold Water Rumble, a 100 miler recently, and one of my goals going into it, really my only goal, was to try to stay on top of my fueling and hydration a little bit better so
With
that I could
precision.
so that I could make Emily proud because I did pass mountain and I did pretty good, but I got overheated and didn't bring enough water in one section and I bonked really bad. And I was like, I don't want that to happen. So I need to like stay on top of it so that I can like make my scientist proud.
Was she proud?
I think so. I mean, I won the race and set a course record, or tied, I guess, the course record. And yeah, I beat all the boys. So it's hard to be like upset, about something like that. But I think she was proud. She told me good job. And we had a debrief and but the most important thing was that I was proud.
That's what counts.
Because I did like most of what she's been asking me to do. I did. So
where do you go from here?
like with my race schedule,
Just like conceptually, not like tactically.
I guess, I mean, just with regards to like the training and like fueling bit, I still think that there's room for me to improve on the fueling side of things. Like it's always been my weakest subject in running, and I can get by in most races because I tend to get ahead early. So even if I die, it kind of it hasn't mattered historically. Like I have a 2-hour buffer on the next person. And so even if I die for an hour, it's still fine. But that is dumb. Why when I could just eat more? And it sounds so silly, but when you're out there for that long, like eating becomes so like taxing, I guess. And you just don't want to do it anymore, which is where I tended previously not to really do a lot of like liquid calories, but now I'm obsessed with them because I have seen the effects of what happens if you stay fully on top of it. Like you feel so much better and you can run faster for longer.
Yep.
I mean, I did a 50 miler back in November, and except for this one, and I was actually
50 miler yesterday.
I did a 50 miler yesterday. Don't ask me about my fueling though. It was mostly like gas station
Donuts,
snacks and like little chews, the little precision chews. But yeah, I did a 50 miler and I like I said, I ran out of water, and so I wasn't able to intake very much. And I remember sitting at the aid station and I just knew that I needed calories. And so I had texted my crew and been like, hey, I need Coke. I need like the highest amount of concentrated drink mix that you can give me in a bottle. Like I need to just sit there, and I knew that I would feel better, and I did. Like I finished the race really strong. So, I mean, I know it's not even like rocket science to most runners because they're like, well, duh, if you eat, you'll run faster.
But it's like there's so much bad information out there, and then there's also such a like stigma of like, oh, I'm not a fast person, so I don't need a lot of fuel. I did a podcast with the co-founders of Carbs Fuel, and they talked about, so one of them is a sports scientist, and he talked through how basically like back of the pack runners need fuel even more.
Yeah.
A, you're out there longer, but B, like the metabolic need is there as well.
Yeah.
And so it is a bit of a misnomer, or it's like bad information that just because you're not pushing the pace doesn't like that.
Well,
doesn't
pushing
mean
the
you
pace is also very relative.
Right.
Because, I mean, for me, a pushed pace might be like an 8-minute mile over the course of 100 miles.
For 72 hours.
Yeah, for 72 hours. Yes. But, I mean, my rate of perceived exertion could be like a 7 out of 10. But for somebody else, their 7 out of 10 could be like a 1440.
Right.
And that's, we have the same needs now.
Right.
I prefer, I guess more so than pace, I like looking at rate of perceived exertion when it comes to fueling. Because like if you're pushing, if your rate of perceived exertion is high, then you need to be fueling that.
Yeah.
I was just talking, it's funny that you bring that up. I was just talking to somebody who wants to sign up for their first 50K, and they asked me like, how should I fuel? Do I need those little gel things? Like, can I just wait for the aid stations? And I said, well, if you're anticipating no greater than 1 hour between aid stations, then yeah, you probably don't need to bring anything. But I probably would. Like, I would probably assume that you are going to need to bring something. So go out and buy a Snickers or whatever you want to do. But yeah, there are a lot of, I guess like false information around how to fuel
the need
properly.
Or lack of need, yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody could stand to do a little bit more. 2 years ago, as I was training for what ended up being my first 50K, I was like really playing around with high carb fueling for the first time. And I went on, I think, a 2.5 hour, 3 hour run, and then moved furniture for the next like 5 hours.
Oh my God.
And I fueled 95 grams an hour and felt phenomenal. And like
that's so funny.
Previously, if I went on a 3 hour run, I'd be like a vegetable for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind that I could just like have the energy to not just like not sit on the couch, but like move
Actually,
furniture for like be a useful person.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my friend Stevie Smith, who's a dietitian, and she's like, duh.
Yeah. No kidding. And I think one thing too that I try not to do anymore is, I think before, if I were doing like 3 hours or less of a run, I just wouldn't bring anything, which is setting yourself up for failure.
Totally.
Like I could get away with it, but I certainly wasn't helping myself.
I've started on runs that are like 75 minutes or more. Like, and so like my week is structured like I do 8 on Tuesday, a workout on Wednesday. Sometimes I'll double 8 to 10 Thursday, 6 to 8 Friday, long run, medium long run.
Yeah.
And so on that Wednesday workout, or if my Tuesday or Thursday run is 10 miles, like I'll take a gel halfway through.
I know you took a gel this morning on our 5 mile run. Did you?
Morning, but I ran 12 miles.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But even that, I was just impressed that we got to the 5 mile mark and you were like, slurp. It's like, good for you.
But I was like, ran for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
Or whatever, like an hour and 45.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, it's less about the specific demand of this run. And I've started thinking about it as like recovering for the next
Exactly.
Run. And that makes the huge difference. Like the people who take a gel at mile 25 of a marathon, or the people who take a gel with 1 mile to go in the long run, like that's not just giving the fuel you need for that run, but it's like jumpstarting the recovery.
I mean,
as well.
I had a grilled cheese sandwich at Cocodona this year. It was 256 miles, which was
throw an extra 10K in
the
there.
worst. I got to mile 250 and there was an aid station there, and I was like, come on. You couldn't have just moved the finish line to this random neighborhood. That would have been great. But I remember I wanted to finish in a better headspace, because for me, a lot of the times, if I'm not eating enough, then I'll get really negative and I'll just be like, where's the finish line? Or like, where is the next?
And that's
when am I done?
Linked.
And it is directly linked.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for everybody, but in myself, I've noticed over the last year, like,
physiologically, it is. That's a thing.
It's the thing. Yeah. I mean, anytime I start asking myself, I wonder where the aid station is. It's like, eat something, eat something now. But I was 250 miles in. I was so tired of the things that I had. I just wanted, and it was getting dark. I just wanted something hot and like something that I hadn't been eating. And so I got to the aid station with only a 10K left. Like I'm looking at under an hour here. And I knew that I was going to celebrate with my friends and family afterwards. And I was going to, not that it matters, but like I was going to go hard there. And like, what am I doing here? But I remember like recognizing that thought and being like, what are you talking about? You want to finish this strong and you feel terrible. So eat a grilled cheese and like get going. It was the best grilled cheese of my life. I split it with my pacer. And it was, I just remember being so proud of myself in that moment of like, you recognize what you needed to do and you did it. And I've had to this day, like top finish line experience of my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I would not have been able to do it without that grilled cheese.
Without the grilled cheese. Cool. Love it.
Yeah. Grilled cheese.
I want to talk about the run we did last summer.
Okay.
I've talked about it a handful of times on this podcast.
Nice. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
And so I was trying to run Mount Massive the Thursday of my birthday of that week, and the AQI was 150, so I bailed as I drove there that morning.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Goldberg and I, definitely a smart move. Kevin Goldberg and I were planning to do like a 5 to 10 mile run with each other, and then I was going to go out and like do 5 or 10 more and like make it a long run. And so I had to like just shed all of my gear and fuel and layers and whatever. And we meet you guys in the fish hatchery parking lot in Leadville, and you and Kevin, your partner, were saying, "Oh, we're gonna go do Massive."
I think Jake was also there.
The long
my
way,
homie Jake.
Yeah, from Oregon.
He's from Ventura,
California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, California.
It was one of the two. It was one of those like say yes to adventure type things, but like Kevin like bullied me into
Kevin Goldberg.
Kevin Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like,
I was about to say Kevin doesn't bully anybody.
No, he didn't bully. He stuffed my pack with
I know.
precision.
Fortunately, we had a ton of stuff.
Yeah, you're like every excuse you have. Like I can.
We can fix this.
Kevin gave me
because didn't you had like a jacket and stuff, didn't you?
I had taken my jacket out because I was not planning. I was planning to run like 6 miles with Kevin and go back.
I remember.
And I was like every excuse in the book. And
no,
Kevin. Your Kevin put a jacket in my pack.
Because I was about to say, I remembered you having a jacket.
It was from your car.
Nice.
And then
everything was from my car.
You gave me like 6 precision products.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing I didn't have a filter, but there was no running water, so it didn't matter. And then I
had a I had a filter because we stopped going down and we refiltered
right,
stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
I think Kevin and I and
was
maybe Jake had filters.
dying.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I think we were all kind of dying at that point.
I was cooked. I remember us setting off, and I was just like, I'm in so over my head.
You did great.
And but like that's I was on a podcast last week and somebody asked me like what I'm training for, and my answer was like, hey, I have this friend Kevin and he asked me to do dumb things every so often. Like I'm training to be able to say yes to whatever Kevin suggests we do, and this was one of those things. I'm curious for you, like when you feel overwhelmed, like do you feel overwhelmed, and if and when you do, like how do you navigate through those things?
That's a good question. I
felt really overwhelmed.
Well, you played it off great. That was a fun run. I thought you did great. I remember Jake and I were sitting at this log because, right, you were mostly running with Kevin Canaday by that point.
Yep.
And Jake and I were like,
well, because he was like having rhabdo.
That's true. I know. Everybody's an idiot in this entire story. No one is smart. But
Kevin Goldberg was smart. He had
back.
run 100 miles the previous weekend.
That's true. Did I do that?
No, Kevin Goldberg.
Did Kevin and I run 100? Was it the weekend after High Lonesome that happened?
No, this was Leadville weekend.
Okay, I'm confused. But yeah, so I don't know if I ever really feel... I don't put myself in dangerous situations anymore. That's an important distinction. I've done a lot of things that are pretty foolish. I'm writing for Ultra Running. I'm going to plug my own shit here.
Plug away.
I'm writing for Ultra Running Magazine now. There's an issue coming up.
Shout out to Jamil.
Shout out to the Godfather. But there's an issue coming out that's the mountain issue. And my article is titled How to Not Die in the Mountains. And I base every single thing I learned off of one instance where I made every single mistake in one run, including breaking a bone, and not being prepared for it. So
what was
check
that
out
run?
I was doing around Mount Adams. Up in Washington State. It's got an 8-mile section, and I didn't do any research. I didn't prepare. I looked at the weather, but it said it was fine, and I believed it. It was just stupid. It was stupid. And I made the assumption that because I'd had success at other circumnavigation attempts, then that meant that I would have success at this one. And without doing any, I downloaded the map, sort of, but apparently it didn't download all the way because the one bit I needed was fuzzy. So it's like, great. But yeah, I've made a lot of those mistakes already, and I've been lucky enough to survive them. So anytime it's an issue of danger, sometimes the correct thing is saying no. But now I think the times that I feel the most over my head is probably in relation to speed. Like the person I'm going with is just going to be so much faster than me that it's not going to, I feel unprepared for this.
Like your podcast with Cam Haynes.
Like my podcast with Cam Haynes. I'm so glad you brought that up because that guy is so fast, but I didn't know that I was in over my head. I just realized quickly that this guy is really fast. I prefaced it with don't forget I just ran 100 miles last weekend, but apparently doesn't matter. Yeah. So typically when I'm running with somebody who's faster than me, I just try and I feel over my head in that regard. I just don't really get mad at myself if I don't keep up or I'm not doing as well as I want to, because as long as I'm still trying my best and I'm still trying to take something from that situation and then I can apply it later. I was in a running group a couple of years ago, and it felt like every single person was extremely good at technical downhills, steep technical downhills. And then there's me, and I'm just plodding my way along. But you only get better by putting yourself in situations where you are forced to grow. And if you're the best person in your running group every single time, then you need to find another, go to that running group still because people are learning from you, but you need to find somebody who's going to challenge you. There is exactly one person in the world who is the best, and it's probably not us.
Well, not even in this room. It's definitely not me.
Yeah. Cheers, dude. It depends. You probably have my marathon time beat by a lot. But
What is your marathon time?
My PR is 3:17.
Oh, I got you by 17 minutes.
I bet you do. Yeah. I would like to actually do another one, but I don't think it'll be that much faster, to be honest with you. Although I have started doing speed work. So
at 7,000 feet?
Sometimes 8.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I guess, to answer your very long-winded question, I don't often put myself in situations where I feel out of my element, but when I do, I try to take off any expectations that I'm going to be able to keep up with this person and just try to do my best. And then, now I have things that I can work on. This person showed me my place.
Yep.
And now I can work towards getting as good or as competent at that skill as that person is.
I love that. Let's keep on with that run. So
Okay.
we are going uphill. It's 11,000 feet. It's 12,000 feet. And then we're like, we're going to go this way.
I know.
Because
bushwhacking.
Bushwhacking.
I didn't know that was happening. I was like, where's the trail?
We're going to get back on it at some point
There's no
soon.
trail.
And I was the only one without poles. And then Kevin let me borrow his poles. It was just like the perfect perfect epitome of like, you got to just work the problem. Like we were off trail going uphill at 12,000 feet, and then it starts hailing.
I know.
And then we're going through this scree field, and you keep going off in the distance. I'm like, we're never going to see Rachel again. We're never going to see her again. And we keep catching her because you're waiting for us.
Because I'm nice.
Yeah.
We're a group. I'm just finding the way.
I was just convinced that we were never going to see the trail again, and we were going to get to
I
some
was
like
too,
cruxy,
to be honest.
cruxy top and have to then go back down.
I'm glad that both of us didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was going on.
There were 4 of us, right?
Yeah. And I guess Kevin Kennedy and Jake had both agreed that they wanted to do an off-trail section. But you and I were not aware of that.
We're not in that conversation.
But I guess, everybody, I think there knew that once we got to the top, there was a route down, except for us.
I was hopeful.
I was also
that
hopeful.
was the case, but I wasn't certain.
Yeah.
Then we get to the top, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then we turned around, and
there was a trail.
There was a trail.
And it was great.
It was great. And everything works out in the end.
Yes.
And then I bonked real hard.
Well, everybody ran out of water. It's fine.
We did run out of water, but that water was the best tasting water.
It was.
Ever.
Yeah. It's nice when you earn it.
Could have used a little more salt in the water, but.
Are you allergic to nuts?
No, at the time.
What happened? Why did you eat my cashew salt? I remember that happened. You were just sticking your finger in my cashew bag.
Yeah, I don't remember why we didn't have any more salt stuff.
Right.
And
there was no more salty food other
and
than
I was
pistachios.
licking the bottom of the plastic bag.
Yeah. Are you allergic to nuts?
No. I don't know why I wasn't.
Why didn't you just eat the nuts? Whatever. Anyway, that was a fun.
And then we survived.
We survived.
And then we survived.
And then we saw Ann Flower run by, right?
Then we saw Ann Flower run by. Yeah.
That was cool.
As she won
the race.
And now she's
in a course
signed.
record time. Yeah. With Hoka.
Yeah.
So that was a casual moment.
Yeah, that was cool.
So say yes to stupid things, because sometimes you see Ann Flower on her way to a course record.
I mean, we could have seen her without
this
going
was better.
Up and down
this
the
was
mountain.
Better.
But
yeah, this one was better.
Yeah, she was at mile 80 of Leadville, just
at 4 p.m.
prancing down the road. That was impressive. So, and then you were planning to pace that night.
I know. My guy dropped out, though.
One of the things that has been the challenge for me, it's half of the reason I do this podcast is to ask people questions that I can learn from.
Good. That's the correct use of a podcast.
That's the main use of this podcast.
That's a great way to use it.
I find the second run of a weekend, or I train with David Roche, and he loves the long run, medium long run the next day. So 16 and 12 or something that. Yeah, 14.
I guess 14 might
20
not be
and 14.
I don't know. I don't know what medium long run is anymore.
It's 75%.
You mean 35 miles? I don't know.
75% of something less than a marathon.
Got you. Okay, cool. Good definition.
On the next day. I find it really hard sometimes to get out for that run, but 3 to 5 miles in, things start to feel good enough. How do you get out the door? How did you start the run? You ran 50 miles yesterday. How did you get out and run 8 or whatever you did today?
Oh, because 8 is... I just ran 50 miles. 8 is fabulous. I don't know. It is funny because I've been thinking about this idea of what is easy to me at this point, because I was originally thinking maybe yesterday I would run 100 miles. And so I woke up at 3:30 to give myself, and I was under no impression that I would actually do it, but I wanted to give myself the opportunity, if I felt good, to just do that, because I thought it would be really funny.
Just talking about the Burrito League.
The Burrito League, right. Yeah. I was considering running 100 miles on a 0.3.
But you only ran 50.
But I ran 50. And it was a great lesson, because it was harder than I thought it was going to be. But to me, it's 100, what's 100 miles? And going into
160K.
Yeah. Thank you, Canadian guy. But going into cold water, I was, again, doing a lot of burrito leaguing. And this is very cocky, and do not think this way. But I was like, well, it's just 100 miles. I've done this so many times. I know that it will get bad. And then I know that it will either improve or not. But we will get through this one way or another, whether that results in a finish or whether it results in dead last place or a DNF. I will figure out a way to get through this event. And so, yeah, I don't know. What gets me out the door? I think first of all, I love running. So that is always what gets me out. And I think like you too, sometimes it might not feel great when you start, but I've never in my life, except for one time when I had Giardia, regretted going on a run that I didn't like. If I didn't want to start the run and I started it anyway, I've never gotten home and been like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that.
Right.
The Giardia one was, for obvious reasons, I wish I hadn't done it. But that had nothing to do with the run and only had to do with shitting my pants. So, but yeah, I guess I know that at the end of the day, like this is what I want to be doing. Running has always given me the time and space to either connect with myself or connect with the person I'm with or think about things or think about nothing. Like running doesn't care. It just gives me the space to do what I want with it. I can go slow. I can go fast. Like running doesn't care. So I guess just knowing that at the end of this run, like I'm going to be glad that I did this. Or I guess believing that I'm going to be glad that I did this.
One slogan that I've used to push myself out the door sometimes is that motivation follows action, right? You don't have to be motivated to start. You just have to start.
Exactly. And I think that's where one of the things that I don't want to say annoyed because that's like too harsh of a word, but like people who say, oh, I could never do that. Why not? Like if you say you can't ever do that, then you're right. But if you just try it, like I didn't know that I was going to finish. I didn't even know that I was going to finish Cocodona the first time I did it. But if I told myself that I couldn't do it, then I would not have ever had what I have now. So I really do think like, who was it? Killian Korth that was talking about delusional self-belief. I mean, I think that's totally fine. Obviously, don't put yourself in a situation that is so delusional now you're dead or stranded on Rainier or something. But like, if you have reason to believe, like concrete reason to believe that I had done 48-hour racing and had success. I'd done 100-mile racing and had success. Why not? Like, why couldn't I also run Cocodona? And I mean, again, didn't expect to win, but I thought that it was within my capacity to at least finish. And yeah, if you talk yourself out of trying before you even start, then yeah, you're obviously not going to succeed because you never even started.
How do you think about process versus outcome?
Ooh, I don't know. Can you explain a little?
Some people,
I like the question, but
some people are in love with the doing of the thing and the day to day and the like they put races on the calendar to have check-ins and whatnot and something to strive for. And others are like, I want to win this race. I want to run a sub-3 marathon. I want to do this thing. That's outcome versus...
I prefer process. I try not to tie how pleased I am with a performance to what my outcome, I guess, is. Because yeah, I mean, at Cocodona this past year, where I blew every expectation that I had for myself out of the water, I don't remember how many goals, but I'll just talk through them and see how many that winds up with. But I wanted to not be a piece of shit at the top of Mount Eldon and not like borderline verbally abuse
high point of the race.
It's at mile 135 or 40 or something.
It's like 12,000 feet.
Yeah, and I was bonking and I was just like miserable. I felt so sorry for Jake pacing me. And I specifically chose him to pace me again for that section so that I would like not like, and I told him if I started to be a little bitch, like you have to tell me so that I can stop. And like, because I want a different experience.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like who I was when I finished Cocodona in 2024 and I don't want to repeat it. And I thought that I'd learned the skills in order to do that. And I did because I finished and I was happy. Well, I wept, but I was happy. They were happy tears. So that was one of my goals. And then that actually might have been was that the only goal? Oh, I wanted to fuel better. That's a little generic, but it was easy to do considering my fueling in 24 consisted of, what was that product that wound up having like half the amount of calories we thought?
Spring.
Yeah. I used a lot of Spring. I was like, this stuff is great. And like that.
Underfueling.
Obviously. Yeah. That for the first day.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. I think they're still around, but I think they fixed it. I don't know.
They were selling it.
I use Precision now.
50% off on the feed.
I know. Yeah, because it's 50% of the calories you think you're getting, which I loved that like little advertising thing. But yeah, I guess it might have just been, but I had no goals that were like, I'm going to win. I went through a period in my career of racing.
It's a career. Don't put it
It's
in
a career
air quotes.
now, but when I was thinking this way, I was in no way even close to being a sponsored athlete. And I had some success, and I tied my happy feelings to what place I got.
How did you get away from that?
Well, I died at Cascade Crest, and I had a stomach bleed, and I still somehow managed, because I took too much ibuprofen, and I still somehow managed to finish, and I got 5th. And then I DNF'd I think I like DNF'd a race because I fell and cut up my hand. And I was just like, I was so miserable. And then I wound up doing the Tahoe Rim Trail FKT. And I went to therapy and I did a lot of work in between.
Trail.
But I went and I did the Tahoe Rim Trail FKT with Jeff Garmeyer, and we did not finish it. But we had so much fun that I didn't even care. And like in a year that could have been defined by failure, the last big fail that I did was just too fun for me to even be upset about it. Like, obviously, I would have loved to have finished it, but like that experience was hilarious. And like the fact that we even went for it, because I had COVID like 2 weeks before, and he basically had like no skin on his heels. Like the fact that we even decided to go for it was hilarious. And we made it much further than I thought we would, which is good. And I don't know, I mean, running can bring you a lot of positive feelings and it can make you feel confident, or it can do the exact opposite if your only value source is what place you get.
Yeah.
I don't know. That year for me was a really unhealthy mindset year because I was so focused on winning that I forgot what I was doing. And I forgot like why I was out there. And I've always been out there to push myself, sure, but like have fun and meet people and like crack jokes at aid stations and take pictures with goats that include Killian's. Yeah, I mean, I guess I got out of it the same way I get out of everything, which is by learning a lesson the hard way and not doing well enough times that I had to find something else. And Cascade Crest, that race is actually the last time I haven't won anything. And I mean, it's been fun the whole time since. Like I never make a goal of win. Whereas that used to be a goal that I made often. My goal is always like, obviously try hard, maybe like, again, stay within 4 hours of Courtney. But that goal in and of itself is like, I'm in second place and that's a goal. Like, I think I try to talk people out of having this. It's fine to like go after a golden ticket or whatever, but you have to have something else too, because what if you have the best race of your life and still get third? Like, are you going to be upset you have a right to be upset, but like, what a shame if you have the best race of your life and you can't control what days other people are having. You can only control your own day. And if you have a great day and it's not a podium, it would be a shame to feel bad about that, I guess.
You mentioned golden tickets and Western States and stuff a handful of times. Do you feel any pressure to run those races?
Well, I'm running one of those races, so yes, I felt the pressure and I've succumbed to it. But I'm excited. I mean, I do think a couple things this year that I want to get better at is racing with higher levels of competition. You're going to get a lot of competition at golden ticket races because everyone wants those tickets.
Right.
And while I might not want that ticket, I want the competition. And so, seeing how I stack up is fun. And then, I am interested in doing UTMB. So the race that I chose is both a golden ticket race and one that lets me into UTMB. So I hope, I guess, that the competition will be good. So yeah, increasing my competition. And then I've never had a lot of success with racing outside of North America. I did the Spartathlon a couple years ago and it went horribly. I was not prepared and it went horribly. Yeah. And so I'm doing Chianti, which is in Italy, a quick rocks throw over the pond from Greece, where I did terribly. So I'm looking forward to having, I guess, rewriting that experience. Because as of right now, I feel like somebody who can't race internationally, and I'd prefer to...
Like an American man.
Change that narrative. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd like to do better. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all the same. And really, it comes down to how well you prepare to encounter things that are unexpected, but also set yourself up for the most success possible. I guess those are my goals that make them relevant to me, because obviously I think sponsors want you to do certain races for their own reasons. But for me, it's like, well, okay, we can have the same goal we can have the same race as an A race if I make my own goals that are separate from yours. We can achieve the same outcome, I guess, but my process is going to be different. And like, my big things are like running races that are more competitive to prove a point. And then, getting more competent with international racing.
What are you afraid of?
With international racing?
Just
or in general?
Broadly.
I mean, it would be a bummer because I do think that there's been a lot of discussion around, like, particularly my trajectory with having not done these uber competitive, like, stereotypical races.
Like Black Canyon.
Right. Like, first of all, I couldn't afford to do those things. I didn't have enough support. I was working a full-time healthcare job. I was a director of oncology. Like, I didn't have time. Like, I needed races that were local because that was what I had time for. And I would do like one race a
All the
year.
Aravaipa ones.
All the Aravaipa ones, yeah. But I would do like one race a year that involved travel, and I couldn't. So even if I did Black Canyon, well, I couldn't even do states if I won it,
Right.
because I didn't have the PTO and I didn't have the finances to do it. So I mean, yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of opinions that I'm not asking for around my race schedule.
People seem to have a lot of opinions about like your running.
A lot of opinions.
Which is nice.
Which is fine. It's fine. I love being talked about, so talk away. But one of the things that I feel like I've demonstrated a high level of competency. Now, it hasn't been at the races that everybody wants me to run, but I couldn't get there. And like, I don't feel like that makes me less of a runner because I couldn't get there. So now that I'm in a position where I'm able to get there, I would like for that, if I do well, I would like for that rhetoric to stop, not just for me, but for like other people, because there's other people too who just cannot get to these races. And we should be I guess like, I almost feel like a lot of the brands that are supporting me now like took a chance on me because I haven't done these things. But it's like, are you really taking a chance though? Like, look at the races. I've won 20 in a row. Like, while I might not win Chianti or UTMB, like I'm a pretty good bet, I think. Like hopefully I'm not going to just completely screw it up. Now I'm in a position where I can actually do the things I'm supposed to. Before I was running these 100-milers and winning them off of gummy bears and prayer. Like that is what I was doing. And now I have resources. So I don't know. I kind of wish that I get it. We all like competition, but just because like a good performance is a good performance and we should put value on that performance. I don't know. End rant, I guess.
Love
Yeah.
Fast forward 10 years. What are you really proud of?
Fast forward 10 years. Like, what am I proud of right now?
No, like.
In 10 years, what am I proud of?
Yeah.
Winning UTMB and proving the haters wrong.
Love it.
I hope. No, I don't know. I think.
You heard it here, probably 7th.
Well, actually, that's the first time I've said that. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm proud that I'm in a position to now take chances and I am taking them. Like, I'm not just deciding to do the same thing I would have loved to have done the higher level competition races if I'd had the chance.
Yeah, but everything works out for a reason. The plan is out of your...
And now I can. Yeah. I can take those chances and I can get help with flights and lodging and stuff. So like, all right, I'm gonna take them then.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm gonna now that I've been given the chance, I will take it. And that is something that I'm proud of because I think a lot of people can talk and be like, oh, if only I had this. And then they get that and they're like, oh, well, if only I had this other thing too.
Right.
It's like, no, like I've been given what I didn't even know I was asking for. And I've been given it. And so now it's my responsibility to take the chance. And I'm excited to.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What guidance do you have for someone who's looking to step things up in distance or take chances of their own?
Say yes to adventure that you're prepared for.
I feel like that's a bumper sticker.
Say yes to adventure is definitely a bumper sticker. I just ordered a Jamil for President bumper sticker. Did you see those?
No.
I just ordered one and I'm really excited about it. So I would say surround yourself. Okay, I guess I have 3 things. So say yes to adventure, surround yourself with people who are better than you, and eat more. Those are my 3 bits.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's going to be the promo clip.
Okay. Yes. Eat more 60-gram mint and lemon chew bars.
They're so good. I took down like 5 of those in Grand Traverse.
The mint, it's like this, because they're a British company, it just feels like such a British flavor.
Yeah.
And I like how they're stacked on top of each other. So you get
They're
like
delectable.
mint and lemon in both. And you think it wouldn't work, but it works every time.
It works. It's too bad that we don't have one in front of us.
I know.
We do have this 90-gram gel pack,
and some hats, which you can't eat.
You can't eat them, but they're full of fiber. So
that's true. Yeah, which I don't think you need on runs.
Not on a run,
lot of fiber.
Unless you want the runs. On that note, Rachel, this has been a blast. Where can we find you on your corner of the internet?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, and then in Instagram I have links to my WordPress because I've been keeping a blog for like 15 years now, and I refuse to get rid of that one. But I did create a Substack, so I have a Substack, and then I have I think it's called Thoughts for Mile 90 is my article thing in my column in Ultra Running Magazine.
We'll put a link to that.
Sweet. Yeah, it's fun.
This was great.
Yeah,
Love
thanks.
it.
Off the cuff.
Yeah.
Woo.